Joining us to reflect on this day is Eric Mokonyama, South African Human Rights Commission Acting COO. Very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Good afternoon, Paul. Good afternoon to your viewers.
South Africa's had mixed views about, of course, what has happened when it comes to, human rights and the extent at which it's happened and the violations that they've been facing. I mean, what is your take in reflecting in the climate of South Africa as you and I speak and commemorate this day?
It is very regrettable for that as a country we are not at a stage where we would have wanted to be in terms of the level of realization of human rights due to a number of factors, and we are not happy as the Human Rights Commission that the country is at this stage, considering the level of inequality, unemployment, and lack of service delivery generally across the country. And it is very regrettable that to a very great extent, the situation we are in is as a result of maladministration and poor usage of the available resources we have as a country.
So, in trying to understand how then we should be celebrating and commemorating Human Rights Day, I mean, I know various political parties have held activities like laying wreaths at the cemetery and so forth. How should South Africans be interpreting Human Rights Day and reflecting upon it?
Paul, we have to commemorate the day. This day is very historical. As I indicated, we would have wished that by this time and age, we would have progressed much, in greater strides than we have done. As I indicated, much of the challenges we are experiencing is really not as a result of lack of resources, but rather, lack of appropriate skills and utilization of the limited resources we have as a country towards ensuring that all South Africans enjoy the rights which are enshrined in the Constitution by law and by virtue of our constitutional democracy. We should no longer be having a situation where we still find, bodies of our little ones in pit toilets, have communities who go for weeks, if not months, without having proper water and sanitation services. And our hope is that going forward, as we commemorate today, and we are bound to commemorate each and every Human Rights Day, but that things get better and government realizes that failure to make provision for socio-economic rights in the country is in itself a violation of the rights enshrined in the Constitution.
Now, this Human Rights Day comes at a time where the country continues to battle several human rights violations. I mean, look at gender-based violence, the power crisis that we find ourselves in, which is exacerbated, of course, by other facets, especially looking at the impact of gender-based violence, looking at corruption, looking at poverty, inequality. When it comes to upholding human rights in times of strife, how should that be achieved?
We just need to impress the importance of accountability. You have just rightly mentioned the challenge around levels of poverty and corruption. If we were in a situation where we were not bedeviled by the level of corruption in the country, surely we would have gone much, or would have achieved much in terms of ensuring that people realize the rights enshrined in the Constitution. So level of accountability should be enhanced, and we must make sure that government is held accountable in terms of ensuring that all people in the country, mostly vulnerable groups, youth, women and children, are given the right levels of priority, and we ensure that going forward things improve and people are able to realize rights in the Constitution. It is just so sad that the law and mechanisms in the country are available for us to ensure that rights are realized, but we still continue to have challenges around accountability and service delivery around municipalities, especially at the level of service delivery.
As President Cyril Ramaphosa delivered his address this afternoon, he spoke about how South Africa must continue to protect human rights for future generations. How do you imagine that to be achieved, especially looking at the current socio-economic factors and, of course, upholding those hard-fought, wins?
We have quite a number of institutions in the country over and above government departments. The Constitution clearly outlines in Section 7 of the Bill of Rights that the state must ensure the promotion, protection and realization of human rights. Unfortunately, we find ourselves in a situation where not all of us are in the same level of understanding of what human rights mean. And what we need to do is, going forward, ensure that all levels of government, national government, provincial government, and local municipalities are held accountable. We should all have that sense of responsibility and ensure that the citizenry in the country is active and make sure that everyone is held accountable towards ensuring the realization of the rights in the country.
Very well. Thank you so much for your time. Eric Mokonyama, South African Human Rights Commission Acting COO, joining us as we reflect on Human Rights Day today.